I'm going to give you some alphabet tips when stitching lettering. So I stitched a small design, I stitched a big design. We use it to show off how some tension needs to be adjusted and so forth. But look at the back of the design. When the embroidery design stitches an alphabet, it cuts in between each letter. Now what happens is you get all these tails and it looks messy on the back. Now sometimes that's not going to be a big deal. But if you're doing it on the back of a towel and you're doing one of my favorites, like the recipe towels, where you put a recipe ingredient on every line, and usually they're fairly small. That's a lot of letters to cut in between, and the whole entire back will look kind of like this, kind of all twisted together. So I'm going to show you how you can turn the thread cutter off. And so what you're going to do is on the screen is go to the Start menu and go down to Set. Now here is where you can go into the hoop and turn off the selective thread cutter for embroidery and the automatic jump stitch trim. So that way, actually it's really just the automatic jump stitch trim that's going to stop cutting in between each of those letters. And you're like, well, why would I want to turn that off? Well, if it's okay to do a little trimming on the top between very small letters so your back looks awesome, it's worth it. Now just remember, you can turn it back on when you get to other designs that are bigger, but it really is something that will make a big difference with your lettering. Now if the few styles that you have noticed, here I'll just come back over here, and you notice that in your lettering you just have the two fonts. Remember, you've got the quick font software that you can download from Husqvarna Viking's website, and that will give you access to all the fonts that are in your computer. Yes, and turn them into embroidery fonts. Not only embroidery fonts, but also like applique versions, straight stitch, satin stitch, fill stitch. You could have hot air balloons rolling through the fill stitches of a lettering. Believe me, you can do it. There's a whole bunch of options. There's bordered fonts that make it look like a varsity letter. It's crazy. And any size that you want. I mean, within reason, but you can pick your size, and then it will just come over here on a USB stick and show up in your font listing. So those are just a few alphabet tips that I give people, and just watch with that thread cutter. It really makes a difference to turn it off during embroidering of small letters.